so that's fine about it. Trying to basically just like wrap the intelligence deeply ingrained quickly, like 3 days, 3 hours, something like that. I'm trying to ingrain the thought pattern very quickly in human consciousness, which is maybe like a couple hours to do this. And it's really more like a one-time thing. Like I'm not. So yeah, I mean, basically, just kind of ingrain some things like within the human thought wave today. And then we can do this other days too, but like today is probably a good day to do this. So, I mean, that's a good book to do. Yeah, good one to do. You want to learn some jujitsu? Not everyone can learn from like a book or whatever, but like, it's tough. I don't know, these things like to get personal or whatever. You could do this one. Actually, you could do this one. You know, it's like the body, you know, it's the body is the servant of the mind. It obeys the operations of the mind, whether they be deliberately chosen or automatically expressed at the bidding of unlawful thoughts. The body sinks rapidly into disease and decay at the command of bad and beautiful thoughts. It becomes clothed with youthfulness and beauty. I mean, you know, the aphorism, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Not only embraces the whole of a man's being, but is so comprehensive as to reach to every condition and circumstance of his life. So, dude. So as a man thinketh. So think about it, dude, like that, you know, the aphorism, like as a man thinketh, you know, in his heart, so is he. You know, not only like embraces the whole of like a man's being, but is like so comprehensive as to like reach out to every condition and circumstance like of his life. Okay, a man is like literally what he thinks, his character being the complete sum of all his thoughts, as the plant springs from and could not be without the seed, so every act of a man springs from the hidden seeds of thought and could not have appeared without them. This applies equally to those acts called spontaneous and unpremeditated. So it's like I have to get to like a thought. I have to get to like, it's my job is to essentially come to like an original thought of like a matter in the world. I can't come up with that. Like I use books as an interface and music, which basically just stirs emotions. So when I'm an actor or something like that, like if you're looking to be an actor or something like that, one way you can invoke these different emotions is literally just through listening to different types of music. And then you have to let yourself fall into that. So it's not like, yeah, of course you want to, if there's other people around and I'm listening to like Adele, like I'm not going to like be bawling out tears. Yeah, but no, if you're like doing an acting growth session or something with maybe an acting coach there as well, then you might put on something like, let's say Adele, and like you would actually try to like, you would try to cry. Because you're practicing, you're doing repetition of that. It's like you're practicing your front kick, you're practicing your free throw, you have to do those type of things when you're an actor. You have to actually practice those things, like a Bruce Lee. All those people that are like a Bruce Lee of whatever they do, they will always be respected and they'll always be paid. Requisite. People that treat whatever their craft is like a Bruce Lee, okay? That's not saying that Bruce Lee would win the UFC fights, but it's like people that treat their life and their vocation like that as much as they possibly can, within reason, okay? You don't have to go like extreme with it, fucking samurai, but within reason, they are fucking diligent. They fucking, I gotta make 500 shots from here. I gotta make 250 shots from here. I gotta practice fucking 30 minutes of this. I gotta fucking do my, like, they're treating it like in the structured way. They'll always be paid pretty well. They'll always find a way that you can do that. And you don't have to even necessarily, like that was an example with basketball, you don't have to necessarily find that with with the NBA. You could, like, nowadays you can find other ways to do that. And you always have been able to. You always have been able to fucking play at Rucker Park, and just like charge in a fucking entrance fee. Like this is not new. Like you've always been able to, like, you can make a living like with basketball outside of like the NBA. You've always been able to do that. You could fucking gather people at Rucker Park and just fucking get people in the stands and have them fucking charge $5 to them, charge $10 to them, charge $20, $50, or whatever. You put on a show and you charge an entrance fee. Yeah, fucking Harry Houdini was doing that. The great magicians, they're up on stage. Yeah, they're charging fucking entrance fee. They're being paid. They're being compensated to do it. Okay. It's like the body is like the servant of the mind. It, obeys the operations of the mind, whether they be deliberately chosen or automatically expressed at the bidding of unlawful thoughts. The body sinks rapidly into disease and decay at the command of glad and beautiful thoughts. It becomes clothed with youthfulness and beauty. Disease and health-like circumstances are rooted in thoughts. Sickly thoughts will express themselves through a sickly body. Thoughts of fear have been known to kill a man as speedily as they folded, and they are continually killing thousands of people just as surely will go less rapidly. The people who live in fear of disease are the people who get it anxiety quickly demoralizes the body and lays it open to the entrance of disease, while impure thoughts, even if not. Okay, so you get something out of this. Okay, go here. All that a man achieves and all that he fails to achieve is the direct result. Actually, okay. We're switching up the background. You gotta have the right background for it, and it's just dependent upon the different hour of the day. And, it's one of those things, dude. It's like, I don't know, dude. I think one of my favorite basketball players is Curly Neal, dude. One of my favorite hoopers of all time, dude. Definitely like Curly Neal. I don't know, dude. Like the way he moved his dribble, like the way he would cross over. He would go left to right. He would go left to right or right to left. This is wide dribble, man. All that, like a man like achieves, and all that he fails to achieve is the direct result of his own thoughts in a justly ordered universe where loss of equipoise would mean total destruction. Individual responsibility must be absolute. A man's weakness and strength, purity and impurity are his own, not another man's. They are brought about by himself and not by another, and they can only be altered by himself, never by another. His condition is also his own, not another man's. Is suffering and his happiness are evolved from within. As he thinks, so he is. As he continues to think, so he remains. A strong man cannot help a weaker, unless that weaker is willing to be helped. And even then, the weak man must become strong of himself. He must by his own efforts develop the strength which he admires in another. None but himself can alter. Okay, so this is an example of a book that is like, so if you're a Bible person, you're a Christian, for example, or even like Church of Latter-day Saints, this is a book that is not like, you might have a book written by someone who's part of Church of Latter-day Saints. You might have a book written by someone who is part of, the Church of Christianity. And then those books can be like also other like readings. So like this is going to be very good. This is obviously a classic. This is called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Okay, it's about understanding that you are in control of the results of your life. You are the decider. You are the controller of the results of your life. You are in full control of those things. You're in full control of the results of your life, okay? You're in full control. I control my left arm, my right arm. I control my fucking left leg, my right leg. I have full control over that with my thoughts. My thoughts are everything, okay? No one can tell you what you are. You determine what you are. So if you view yourself here, then you are here. It doesn't matter if someone says you're fucking anything like else. If you view yourself here, they can fucking, it doesn't matter. Like they can say that you're great, but you don't even fall into that. Like a lot of these people, they don't live by this, by the sense that like if someone tells them if they're good and they're told that they're great, they're like, okay, I guess I'm great. No, like you know where you're at. You know where you're at. You're a brown belt and they told you that you're a black belt and you're like, okay guys, I guess I'm a black belt. No, you're a brown belt. Okay, you know where you are. And then when someone tries to demean you, say, hey, you're a fucking purple belt. No, I know where I'm at, dude. I know exactly where I'm at. The aphorism, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Not only embraces the whole of a man's being, but is so comprehensive as to reach out to every condition and circumstance of his life. A man is literally what he thinks. His character being the complete sum of all his thoughts, as the plant springs from him could not be without the seeds. So every act of a man springs from the hidden seeds of thought and could not have appeared without them. This applies equally to those acts called spontaneous and unpremeditated, as to those which are deliberately executed. Act is the blossom of thought and joy and suffering harvest. Fruits thus does a man gardener in the sweet and bitter fruitage of his own husbandry. Thought in the mind hath made us what we all by thought was wrought and built. If a man's mind hath evil thoughts, pain comes on him as he comes the wheel, the ox behind it, one enduring purity of thought, your follows him as his own shadow sure. Man is a growth by law and not a creation by artifice, and cause and effect is as absolute and undeviating in the hidden realm of thought as in the world of visible and material things. A noble and godlike character is not a thing of favor or chance, but is the natural result of continued effort in right thinking the effect of long cherished association with godlike thoughts and ignoble and bestial character by the same process is the result of the continued hovering of groveling thoughts, madness made or unmade by himself in the armory of thought. He forges the weapons by which he destroys himself. He also fashions the tools with which he builds for himself heavenly mansions of joy and strength and peace by the right choice and true application of thought. Man ascends to the divine perfection by the abuse and wrong application. Okay. So yeah, I mean that's pretty good. Favorite athletes and stuff like that, man. You gotta be kidding me, dude. Again. Wow. It's crazy. Yeah, fucking obviously, dude. That kind of spoils the mood. Anyway, let me fucking get this. Get more coffee. Oh well, dude. I already know, dude. I do the standing, bro. Anyway, yeah, you could probably put that, certain books, like you can make a church, if you're like one of these people, if you're like, oh, I'm making like a cult, and you're kind of joking about it or whatever. It's like, no, you could make a church. You could make a church. Like, you don't have to fucking like spread it around. Like, you can just make one of them. Like, this is actually one thing that people do, is like they make a church. They just make one church. Like, that's their work life, if that makes sense. Like, they're basically, it's basically a Christian church, but it's not one of those like cathedrals or something. They're just like a guy that just fucking reads the Bible a bit and stuff like that, and lives by it, and lives by like morals and ethics, and he's just a guy, and he's like, let me just fucking put a fucking church up. And it's just like my take on certain things. So like my take on certain things, I can give you a little fucking like hint in some type of way, where I'd be like, I'll find like, yeah, we'll have like the Bible, okay, because it's got to be rooted in that. It's got to be rooted in Christianity. So we have to have the Holy Bible, right? Okay, but we can also like, let's have fucking 8 total books, like the Bible be our centerpiece, right? Let's pick like, different things, okay? It could be like a novel, or it could be, things like that. Things like, the Master Key System, or something like, like some classic of like a fucking like whatever you view is like, or and those can rotate. You can rotate other like book, maybe like every year it rotates like different books. We want people to fucking kind of be reading this one and this one, and then you're referencing this because we want people to be wealthy, we want people to be successful, we want people to get what they want. So we're going to pick 3 books for this year. We're going to pick, Atomic Habits. Everyone get Atomic Habits. And fucking like this other one. We're going to do one on fucking real estate. And then we're going to do one on fucking this like improv thing. And then we're going to fucking like, you can actually make a church fun. You can do things like fucking improv and shit like that, rather than it being so fucking serious. Trust me, being serious is not necessarily like, there are people that are serious. Like a football player is serious, right? They have to be serious to go in the football game. Yeah, but they do a full expression of like athleticism and like full ability and stuff like that, and power and speed and strength and stuff. So it's like a lot of times they'll see power and speed and strength as like sins of some sort. It's like, no. like being like weak or being like meek is like the highest pursuit. It's like, no. It's the opposite. Like being like, especially for a man, like being like strong, like a warrior, like that, like being a warrior, like a fucking shield and sword type of like a warrior, like as a man, like, yeah, that is deeply rooted, like that is within, whatever. That's the highest viewed thing. We're reading like John Wooden and stuff like that. Barack Obama, different advertising things. Among that, we do some other things. We're not going to really talk on all the different ones just because, Grey's Anatomy is another one. The Prophet. These are things that just like you could put like The Prophet. You could make a church around like a book like that as like you could make a church around that. That's the centerpiece book. That's another way to look at it. That's another way to do it, man. So, The Prophet works pretty well. So, and others, came also, and treated him like, but he answered them not even the promise that he stood near him, saw his tears falling upon his breast, and he and the people proceeded to Jesus, but before the temple, looking at Elvis and Sheba the oath, woman whose name was Amitra, and she was out, service and he, was upon her, whether she been, tenderness full, whether she whole, half herself in, buried in him, when he had been, better that in, rested in, she had been sad, God in quest of the other, as long as we search the distance for you, tripping now, the ship has come, you must needs go. Deep is your longing for the land of your memories and the dwelling place of your grace will be sovereign. I love with my family, I miss you. Yet this we ask is Jesus, us as you speak to us and give us of your people. We will give it unto our children and their land to their children. And this shall not perish in your wilderness. You have lost without days renewal. Wherefore, once you have listened to the weeping and the laughter of our sleep, now before disclosures to ourselves and tell us all that has been shown you of that which is between birth and death and to answer people up, or for resurrection, I speak of that which is even now moving within your souls, that's the one we trust you to us of love. And you read, his having looked upon you people, and there fell a stillness upon them, and with a great voice he said, when love beckons to you, follow him, though his ways are hard and steep, and when his wings enfold you, yield to him, though the sword hidden on his pin wounds may wound you, and when he speaks to you, being brave, when though his voice may shatter your dreams as a northern lays waste the dark down for evil, as your finds it, so shall he crucify you, even as he is for your death. To the earth that she's upon me, God is you unto himself. He blesses you. To make you more curious if you pray for you. From your house to God, you see why listen who's you until you apply love. When he is starting to his sacred Father, you will be become sacred powerful. God says to us, you shall be still child of the dear unto you that you may know the secrets of your heart in him and knowledge become a heart winner like heart. So here's what's interesting, dude. Okay, so people think about the NBA and people think about the NBA from the terms of players. That's not how I view the NBA. So how I view the NBA is the only era that matters to me is when I was between the ages of like 9 and fucking 15. So that's the only era, whoever was the players, when I was between the ages of 8 to 15, those are the only people, like, that's all I represent of, like, this is the NBA. Okay, and so what happens is like I follow those people when those people become general managers, when those people become owners, when those people become head coaches, when those people become like not that, but like when they become head coaches, like you're following them. So let's say if Kevin Garnett is a head coach, like I don't care about the current players. Like I grew up with Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan and like obviously Kobe Bryant and like Latrell Sprewell and Shaquille O'Neal and Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady and Steve Francis and Stephon Marbury and like those people. So when those people become the head coaches, I'm following them. I'm following for them, like the head coaches. I'm following the people that, or it's like they're the general manager, you know, they're the team president, you know, maybe even the owner. Okay. I don't know that you want to be the owner. You might rather be the team president. That's the one that just makes the decisions. I don't know that you want to be like basketball's a business. So it's just like if you're not a business man, then it's like I don't know that you want to do that. You might be able to create more business by you being the team president than you being the owner. In that case, now other things you want to be the owner. You want to be the owner of like the endorsement brand that, like the shoe brand that fucking is giving you money and whatever. You want to get ownership in that because that's going to be like dividends and stuff like that. Okay, but I don't know that you want to be the owner. You may, but you might want to. You're kind of choosing who the owner is. Like they have to do funding. They have to do. They're doing like the owner of that is like you better be good with like financial statements and shit like that. Like that's what that is. If you don't know like law, and so like I don't know that you want to get your head in the mud of fucking like law and accounting. Some people know that fucking intuitively, law and accounting and things like that. So I don't know. Like, you might want to be team president or general manager. Like you're looking for something that is fun, usually, or you know what's going to be open is going to be the commissioner position. Okay. Because if all the players took a fucking vote, if you take all the fucking players who played at least, like, let's say, they all played like at least 6 seasons. If you take all the players of the last 40 years and they all played like at least 8 seasons, you had to at least play 8 seasons, which means you would have had enough seasons where you were like at least a very like contributing player getting a lot of minutes. If you played 8 seasons, you definitely had a lot of years where you're at least contributing. Okay, so, and then those guys are basically going to be like, okay, well, hypothetically, if we were to choose a commissioner, who would it be? And his right-hand man. The commissioner and his right-hand man, or, you know, whatever, his kind of go-to person, who would we choose? And then some people, and then they'll vote. They'll form a poll of who is available, like who of, like, is anyone here, like, wanting, potentially would do this? Is anyone here like would do this, right? Hypothetically. Okay. So basically they would do that and it's like they would form a vote and it'd be like, okay, we would choose, you know, this person and his right hand person would be this person, you know, and there's gonna be a poll. There's gonna be like, you know, 9 different candidates of these different fucking people. And then one of them will be like Adam Silver, right? And it's like, are you choosing him? You know, it's like, who are you choosing? You know, who are you choosing? Like some would choose that, but obviously it's like, you can get the sense of things. It's like, I don't think that they would, if they were being honest with themselves, I don't think that that's who they would choose if you were starting from blank here and there was no commissioner today. And if there was no commissioner today and they were choosing who a commissioner was, you can do this for the NFL, the MLB, all these different things. It's the same across the board. NFL, and if there's no commissioner, just pretend there's no commissioner. Us players, who are we choosing as fucking players and coaches? Really, players and coaches. You know, players and coaches. You deal with coaches too. So players and coaches. Okay, for like the NBA, you know, you gather just 400 fucking players and coaches. Just get a bunch. Whoever wants to fly out to fucking Vegas and fucking do this. Just fly out fucking, you know, 500 players and coaches, you know, former past, last 30, 40 years, something like that. Okay. And then pretend there's no commissioner. Who's our commissioner? You choose. choosing commissioner and choosing a number 2 and whatever fucking cabinet, like just the leaders of who's going to be the league, who's gonna run the league, commissioner's office. We're going to choose LeBron James, new commissioner. We're going to choose fucking whomever, right? They're going to be commissioners, okay? Is this going to happen? What's supposed to happen is what always happens. So what's supposed to happen is what ends up happening. That's the idea. What's supposed to happen is what ends up happening. But sometimes it has to be pointed out to them what the decisions that they could make are. You want to be like, I'm looking at your chessboard, right? And I'm like, well, you could move that bishop here. You could also like move that pawn up. You could also like move your knight forward. You could like, move your queen over one spot. You could like, castle your king. You could like, okay, you could set up the bishop in front of the pawn here. You're gaining an advantage here. You could move your knight up. Okay, you might be able to pin the rook and the king here. Okay, you could move another pawn up. You could converge towards his knight. Okay, there are different things that you can do. I'm looking at like some people just they're a beginner at chess and they don't understand that you had like 12 possible moves and you thought you only had like 1 or 2 because you're just a beginner at it. You're just learning it. But now once you've played hundreds of games, now you see it exactly the way I fucking saw it before, which is just you had like these fucking 12 or 14 different moves you could have made. Okay, now there are going to be good ones. There are ones that seem better, but what they talk about is like when you play chess well, it's like you have essentially when you get good, you have multiple moves that will work. Multiple moves work here. I have 2 or 3 moves that like all lead me to good places. It's called having like lots of fruit on the table because I can go to this move. This is a fruitful move. I can go to this move. This is a good move also. Okay, we'll go with this one. We're not playing both games at once, but advanced chess players are playing both games at once. How? Got fucking other board right fucking there, just carbon copy, but you pick the fork in the road moment. So as a chess tutor, that's what you do. Is you duplicate the game until you have the fork in the road moment. Okay, fork in the road moment. Okay, now let me play these 2 games. And a proper chess tutor can definitely get you in line with that. So if you wanted to get that set up, you can call 1-800-719-3135. That's 1-800-719-3135. Now, the difference between 35 and 31 is 4. Divide 4 by 2, what do you have, 2? Okay, now if you split 2 in half, what do you get? Well, you have 1 and 1. So on a jersey, what does that look like? 11. Okay, so if you take the number 2, so that's how you take the number 2 and get 11. Because 2 is just like a 1 next to a 1. But just phonetically it looks like 11. Okay. It would be like if I take the number 4, you can do numerals. You want to fucking do something different with the jersey numbers while we're at it for NBA? You want to do something cool? Okay, all the players on the team, you wear numbers 1 through 12 only. Those are the only available numbers. You're either 1 to, we don't retire jersey numbers either. No retirement of jersey numbers. You wear numbers 1 through 12, they're Roman numerals. So if you're number 10, that's the X. If you're number 1, that's just 1 line. If you're number 2, it's just 2 lines. Number 3, that's 3 lines. If you're number 4, it's 1 line and a V. If you're number 5, it's a V. If you're number 6, it's V and a line. Number 7, it's a V and 2 lines. If you're 8, it's a V and 3 lines. If you're number 9, it's a line and an X. If you're 10, it's an X. If you're 11, it's an X and a line. And if you're 12, it's an X and 2 lines. Okay, so that's kind of like the artistic nature of it. That's like the fucking like dope like painter, like one of the dope like current painters and stuff like that. A music producer, dope painter, fucking music producer, skateboarder, extraordinaire, fucking like rolls through this fucking like new fucking like alternate, but not even alternate, that can be your main thing. That can be the way you roll. He's an artiste, dude. up to 13, maybe up to 14. I mean, 13 max. So you have like maybe the one fucking alternate. So yeah, that's how you would kind of do that artistically, come up with something. You know, the X and the 3 lines can be, you know, basically number 13. You can do like, yeah, X, line V would be 14, and then X, V would be 15. There's your 15 players. You have to choose a number between 1 and 15. And in fact, you don't really choose one. We choose it for you. We choose your where you rank in things. If you want to choose, you can fucking choose. But it's like, yeah, I mean, it's 1 through 5. But well, soccer kind of chooses your number for you. Like if you're number 9, that's in accordance to a position. If you're number 10, that's in accordance to a position. If you're like left forward or something like that.